Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Hello. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. My name is Becca Dukes, and I am excited to have another day of sharing information to add to your toolbox of life. Whether it's the beginning of life, in middle of life, end of life, Daily with Doc is supplying information to help you have a better life. So today, I just want to make sure that if you are here live with us, which if you're not live with us and you want to be live with us, go to zoom.dailywithdoc.com Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, and 3 to 4 Eastern Time. Again, that's zoom.dailywithdoc.com. And for those of you who are here with us, make sure that you have that chat open. We have the amazing Marilyn putting in information into that chat as there's going to be a lot of nuggets today, folks. And she gets those captured, puts them in the chat so that if you can't think as fast or if you can't write as fast as you think, she can do it all. So she's here to help you out, and I'm super thankful for her. As I am thankful for all of the team. And I hope if you didn't catch yesterday with Tim Marsh, folks, you need to go back to whatever platform it is, look up the date 4/2/2025, and check out that episode of Daily with Doc. Thank you so much, Ruth Ellen, for being the host on that as I was away. And also, this program is a resource for an amazing community. So if you were referred by somebody specific, make sure that you get back with them. They cared enough and took the time to share this program with you because they knew that there was something within it that could help you in this journey we call life. So folks, if you're on a life journey or your health is not the where you want it to be, or your finances are not where you want them to be, it's nice that we have the option to make U-turns. Now, today, one more thing. I've been gone too long. You're going to kind of learn a little bit about it today. But this program is being sponsored by DailywithDoc.com. On our website, you will find a good foods, bad foods list. You will also find past episodes and additional helpful articles to put in your toolbox of references to help you in making those decisions when it comes to trying to figure out what's wrong when another community just wants to test, and send you to one specialist after another, and still no answers. So check out DailywithDoc.com, sign up for our newsletter, and make sure that you are following us on your favorite platform. Now, my name, as I said, is Becca Dukes. I am the Director of Student Services for the Institute of Holistic Health. I am the producer and hostess of this program on most days. And I am also a certified naturopathic practitioner. And folks, I got here because I was searching for answers myself. I found solutions, and now my goal is to help others find solutions when they aren't getting the answers they want either. And in my journey of looking for solutions, and when I was at my worst, I had a super dear friend who would come over and help me. And I am so honored to be able to have her on with us today again. Please help me welcome Kasondra McCormick. Now, in short, she's an educator, an advocate in aging, functional nutrition, longevity, and movement. That's the short of it, because it would take me another 5-10 minutes to actually say it all. And I just want to say thank you so much, Kasondra, as once again, you are helping me through a difficult time. And folks, today we are going to be talking about things that maybe we don't plan for as our loved ones age. So, Kasondra, thank you so much for coming on, as you have been doing this for more than a decade as a family liaison, helping them maneuver through some of the most difficult parts and times in life. So where do you want to start?
Becca, thank you so much for having me again. It's such a treat. I always love speaking to the community about these things that are so important, our nutrition, our health, and we're aging every day. And you and I have been on a long journey together, more than a decade. We won't say how many. And traversing our own health, which has now transitioned into your jam-packed new experience of caring for older adults, your personal loved ones. We both now are helping our families care for our loved ones, our aging parents. Excuse me.
Well, and you know, you think of everything that goes into it. I mean, I was thinking, okay, there's going to be a time where mom's going to need more help. And so I'll get that all set up. Well, you know what? It wasn't and isn't that easy.
It happened very quickly. And I think that's what really happens with most people is you plan that when that time comes, that's what I'm going to do. I will be fulfilling that role. And all of a sudden, that role shows up right now. And no matter how much you plan or how much you think that you have the tools in your toolbox, nutrition, all the things that we do on a daily basis to take care of ourselves, they are completely different when it turns into caring for a loved one. They go from being independent one day to completely dependent the very next day. And your entire world changes very quickly. Sometimes it's a slow, and most of the time it's quick. Today is normal and tomorrow is crisis. Mm-hmm. So having the tools in our toolbox to be able to navigate that not only helps us with our loved ones, but now it helps us better prepare for when it's our turn. And we are living longer, and we only have a generation or two that has the experience of taking care of a loved one and living to maybe, mid-90s or 100s. That's very few. And now that we have nutrition and education and the support and all the platforms that you're on, we have a wealth of knowledge right at our fingertips in order to live better and live longer. Mm-hmm. However, we still become dependent. Yes. We still become dependent. And we need to understand what those tools in our toolbox are so that we can start to live an interdependent life, mm-hmm. instead of being completely dependent.
Oh, absolutely. And, we had the education down pat and overcame so much just through nutrition. And then, bam, something happens. And
Yep.
And sometimes without any real signs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let's go through. I know there's so much to this, Kasondra. We only have about 50 minutes here. And your notes are extensive, my dear. That's one thing that you have always been very thorough about. So let's just start at the top. As we're going through, and folks, if you're just joining us, we're talking about helping with aging parents or people who become unable to care for themselves, no matter what the age is. They're just no matter what the age is. So let's talk about some of the do you want to start with like resources that are available, or where do you want to start?
So I'd like to start at the top of our list, which is our inner dialogue, because I think the majority of people who are here today, they're still in good health, they're working on their nutrition, and they're trying to do all the right things using the platform and all of the tools that you provide in your toolbox. So they're working with their inner dialogue. And that inner dialogue is, I'm wanting to be healthy, I'm trying to optimize my well-being, but there's a missing link there. Because yes, as you continue to do those things, you're going to stave off those critical conditions. But nevertheless, your body is still aging and it's going to get weaker, and our body breaks down, our body slows down. And so everyone needs to just, the inner dialogue that they have, I think for a lot of people who are ultra healthy, that's never going to be me. And so the inner dialogue that needs to start blossoming is, when I get there, let's give everyone the tools to start recognizing the signs so that they don't, their ego doesn't get in the way that says, well, I've done all of these things right, and that's just not going to be me. Because folks, we're all going to be that someday, maybe right now, maybe tomorrow. We only get right now. So if we start changing that inner dialogue and start the preparation for when I get there, or when my loved ones start having these signs or symptoms, I can quickly recognize them. And now I have a whole new toolbox to go to that extends out to build up my longevity toolbox so that I can become interdependent instead of in crisis mode. So that's number one, inner dialogue, and just realizing that we are all going to be there someday. And if we practice now and we start talking and opening up those conversations and start looking into those things, we're going to be better prepared.
For ourselves, when it's our time. But as we're preparing for ourselves, that helps us also to know what needs to be done to help prepare for our parents.
Absolutely.
They may not be thinking about it.
Yeah, I think that the typical conversation is save enough money for when I get old. But what does that actually mean? What does that mean? It's like a false sense of security, knowing I have enough money in the bank for when I get old. But nobody explains what you're supposed to do with that money and when is, quote, old. When do I start using that money so that I can do the things that I need to do for myself? Because I see it all the time. The dialogue is, I'm saving the money for when I get old. They actually need to start using the money, but they're afraid to use the money because they don't know it's time. So recognizing when it's time and saying, it's okay, we're going to talk about the resources. Here are all the things. And now we can start strategically putting a plan together about how much money do I need? How do I want to live my life? And if I have these types of disease-oriented processes, here's what's going to take for me to live the lifestyle that I want to continue living. And who do I need around me to support me in that journey?
That's a lot to think about.
It is, but it's not later, it's now. Because it is a lot to think about. And we need to just enter into that dialogue because it is a lot to think about. And if we wait till tomorrow, it takes away our opportunity to make good choices. And it also takes away the opportunity to understand what our choices are. Because at that point, you're in crisis and your choices truly are limited. And you're at the hospital and that person in front of you is telling you exactly what you need, and you have no idea how to understand whether that's the right thing for your circumstances or not.
Right.
And you don't have time to do the homework. You don't have time to do the investigation because you need to make decisions now. So what better time when you're not in crisis to start preparing, just like your health, right? Let's start working on this journey now instead of waiting for crisis. We have less options.
Now, when we're looking at our health and nutrition, we always say being proactive is more affordable than reactive. Does that hold true coming towards the end of life?
It's yes, always being proactive is your best bet. But things are going to happen, things are going to come up, strange situations are going to come to your awareness that you didn't know. Everyone's different, just like in your health, everyone's going to have a different circumstance. Excuse me. So it's, again, like opening up the book and saying, here's my health journey. Here's my disease orientation. Here's what I know about maybe some loved ones around me that have had health challenges. Here's maybe what that might look like for me. I might even go as far as recommending community service, jumping into maybe a setting that gives you the experience to help. Maybe, we used to go caroling when we were younger they used to call them nursing homes. I don't like that word anymore, but we used to go and do caroling. Go into an environment where you can start, if you're not taking care of, I think all of us are taking care of older adults or loved ones around us. It's more prevalent now. So if you get into that environment, so you can really get a hands-on idea or start asking questions about what that looks like, that's going to help you have a first-person experience to understand how to navigate that.
So where do we get started? I mean, we've got that inner dialogue going on, but where do we get started?
Yeah. So, I think resources are probably a great place to start. Every state has an area on aging agency. There are so many resources out there, and every state, finances is a really big conversation around aging. So it doesn't matter you need to know what your finances are, because you need to plan just like everything else. But even if you're worried about your finances, there are lots of solutions and lots of resources, even if your budget isn't where it needs to be or what you think it might be. A great place to start is your local area on aging, because it's going to start opening up the dialogue, and it's going to start helping you have local solutions in your own state. And every single state has one of those. If you want to dig a little deeper, AARP has an innovation lab. Everybody thinks, they've started at 55 now, and I love that, because we need to start planning. And sometimes, I know our topic for this, and I think next week we'll dig a little deeper, the Alzheimer's and dementia. Sometimes that starts a little earlier. And I love that we're starting to have this conversation about starting at 55, or starting when disease starts to start looking at these things. Just looking over my notes, because I'm getting a little bit out of my my order here. There are lots of solutions. There's people. So you have people support, you have technology support, you have local places in your community for support. So we start with the area on aging. We're all aging. What are the resources in my community? Then technology is a really big piece. Now everybody's using computers, everyone's wearing watches, everyone's wearing devices. And we can, if our parents have a fall, it can notify us right away. And just like you traveled over the weekend, a lot of us don't live within our parents' community or loved ones' community anymore. So it's really helpful to have technological devices that can help communicate with us about our loved ones. And I have a lot of friends and a lot of solutions in technology, and they really help us from an awareness standpoint. We have some great services in technology, and they're in the home so that they can communicate. We have all kinds of wonderful devices. We have cameras. We have PIR, so we can notice movement changes. Again, we have the devices that we wear so that others can be notified that we need help right now. I have two really great friends who have podcasts. They have been in the industry for decades, and they are talking about those changes and transitions and following aging and the devices and the resources. And there's so much information. I have, again, back to the technology, I have a brilliant friend who has a technology podcast just for older adults and helping older adults navigate their technology. That's a really tricky one. We talked about the next one is, who is the support around you? Technology is a great piece for advocating and bringing awareness, but we still need people. I'm trying to frame my conversation. There's people and technology, and the heart-centeredness of the person is still important. The next topic in my list is play and grief and movement and engagement and loneliness. So do you have any questions before we transition? I think we can probably put a list of resources maybe for the listeners, so that if they're looking for places for support, we can give them some places to start.
Oh, I absolutely put a list together. And when I was reviewing the notes of what we were talking about, and you said play. Explain play. Are you ready to get to there right now? Because whenever you explain that to me, I'm like, well, duh. We got to keep our minds engaged.
Yes. So play, something we don't do as adults, right? We forget to play because we're so busy working and, traveling, and we just forget the arcade games, internet games, video games. Those are all really popular now. And I think it's because we forget to play. And as we get older, you have the digression of busyness happens. And we're not engaged in activity in community, and we're not engaged in work, and our loved ones or our family, they're busy living their life and they're bustling around with their growing family. And this population, whether you have a disease-oriented process where you can't get out of the home anymore, or it's more difficult for you to get out of the home and engage in those activities, loneliness sets in. And this lack of community happens. And your ability to be able to connect to this community group right here really helps someone who's stuck at home, who can't leave, be able to engage in a community. And everyone wants to feel loved. Everyone wants to feel needed. Everyone wants to feel valued and important. And they also want to feel like they have some kind of purpose. So play gets our creativity and our imagination moving. And that's what gives us purpose, and it helps us connect with others. And it stimulates our mind and gives us that desire to keep going every day and work through those physical challenges, work through those mental challenges, and back to the dependence and the independence that your ego, when I can't do these things anymore and I'm incredibly frustrated and I'm dependent on somebody, using play helps us combat all of those things. We're engaging with others, and you can do it just like here. We can do a word game or put a puzzle together, or we can talk with each other. There are things that you can do to be able to be with, but it's also important for someone to come visit your family. Like you got to see your mom this weekend and give her a giant hug and just spend time. We all need a hug, and we all need somebody to spend time with us. There are volunteer agencies out there that will come and just spend a little bit of time. There are telephone, I think it's 211. We'll make sure that that's correct. I believe it's 211, and that is for older adults to call and just be able to speak with someone. It's just a companion. If they don't even have to be having a tough day. They just need somebody to talk to, and they can just call that number and they can reach out and they can talk to somebody. They might not have any loved ones around them. So they're, again, back to the resources and tools. Those things are important. And trivia and asking questions about their life and sharing their achievements, all of those conversations, we want to be remembering. We want to help them remember, and we want to engage with them in that remembering. There are lots of companies out there, brilliant companies, who are taking the time to capture the stories for their loved ones. We don't want anyone to go without being able to share their story and their journey. So there are lifelike animals. There's a company that makes lifelike animals who meow and woof, and they kind of move a little bit, and they might not be able to take care of, a pet anymore because they can't do all the things, feed and water and walk them. And
for that.
Exactly. And a pet is companion. A pet is companionship, and it makes them feel like it fills that void of loneliness. I took a little stuffed bunny, a medium-sized bunny, to a friend of mine. I visit her mom every week, and she was overjoyed. And she sat down and she just like patted the little bunny on the head, and she was just overjoyed. It made her smile. And just those simple things we forget. When we were little kids, we used to like to play with our dolls or our cars and engage in that activity. When we're unwinding towards the end of our life, we move back into this childlike self. And it's not a bad thing. It's actually good. We don't have all the junk in our mind and all the busyness. We can just play and engage and spend time together, and maybe play a card game. Or again, another company makes larger puzzle pieces like Scrabble, like the old games that you used to play. They actually make them more simple and larger pieces so that people who have a difficult time with, dexterity, they can't hold those teeny tiny puzzle pieces anymore. So they make the pieces larger so that they can still engage in that. And they make the font bigger. A lot of people forget you can't see as well. And so the font needs to be really, really big. There are places out there who really specialize in all of these things that we forget about. Reading books is really difficult when you get older because you can't see, or your dexterity, and you can't navigate your technology. So I love that all of these innovation labs are popping up in different states, trying to find solutions for older adults so that they can stay engaged. And not just older adults. We may have a hip repair or a knee repair or a shoulder repair. You don't have to be older to need some of these things. You're having a hip repair, you're stuck at home, you need to engage your mind. Play is a great way for you to get your mind off of your situation. And it's going to help you get engaged and feel good and pass time and get excited about what's coming next.
You mentioned 211, and I looked that up. So
in the
United States, if you dial 211, it connects you to a free confidential information and referral service that can help you find local resources and services for various needs 24/7.
Yep. So yeah, and I think that they also they'll tackle mental health too. So if you're having some loneliness, or mental health issues, they can provide the right resources for you as well. Mental health gets to be that's not on our topic. Maybe we can talk about that next time. Mental health and older adults, right? That's a big one. And, the loneliness is a combats that. Socialization, families around us, all of those things help combat loneliness.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. Even taking the time and being there with my mom, she's like, well, shouldn't you be doing something right now? I'm like, yeah, I'm spending time with you, Mom.
Yeah.
This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And we went through pictures. I had her tell me about the pictures, because she's lost the movement of her legs. And that is so hard because she was such a fighter, but just all of a sudden. So as I'm probably messing up with the list.
It's okay.
Because I know movement is one of those things. And as we age, we do tend to slow way down, especially at retirement. You get to that retirement age, you're no longer going to work or showing up every day, and you stop, you put on pounds. And there's a statistic out there, I don't know what it is now, but for those that retire, you have 7 years? I think there's an average of 7 to 10 years. And because they stopped, their body decides to stop too.
Absolutely. Yep. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. The health and the nutrition are going to help push through that, because you're going to need your health and your nutrition when you, quote, retire. And I don't like that word. You might retire from your old profession, but hopefully you would have a hobby or other interests, because if you don't, that's when the breakdown happens very quickly. And you see this in men a lot more, because they've gone to work every day and they have just this repetitive habit. The grooves in their mind is every day I get up, every day I go to work, every day I come home. They just have a pattern groove in their brain year after year after year. And it's difficult for them. They retire, they have the party, they go home, they go through the weekend, they play a couple rounds of golf maybe, and then they wake up one day, what on earth am I going to do? What am I going to do? So the gifts that you have as your profession, now maybe you can go out and you can give those to an older adult. A way to transition your retirement is to give back to your community the skills and gifts that you have to serve others, or just those surround. Who knows? You need to continue doing what you do well, but now you can transition that into service. And that's going to help you engage and continue going. If you love traveling, you need to keep traveling. Again, you need to plan your retirement life now. Start writing the list. We talked about journaling before. Start now asking the questions. If I didn't have to go to work today, what would I do tomorrow? And so start there. And if you have a big fat question mark, then you have some work to do. And then who around me might I be able to give my gifts and talents and share those with? I'm in Arizona, and we have a hospice, a large organization, and they have a dementia cafe, and they have grief support, and they have volunteers that go out into the community, and they support and wrap their arms around the community, not only for individuals, but they also go to hospitals, and they go to rehabs, and they go to long-term care facilities, and they just donate their time with those individuals who can no longer go out and do those things for themselves, and they are just lonely. So it's a great, the most important thing we can do is service. We are here today because we are in service of the gifts and talents that we have, and we want to share those with others. So that's number one on my list. It's not everyone's list, but sharing gifts and talents, it's going to keep your mind vibrant. It's going to keep you active, and it's going to keep you engaged. And that's part of this longevity conversation. What am I going to do next? You got to continue moving forward. In what capacity? And if I'm limited in that capacity, who in my support system around me can come back in, and you still can share with, there are the schools, the children have volunteer and community hours. What a great way for an older adult to share their wisdom with a younger person, and an experience that they may never have because the world just isn't that way.
Well, I remember when our older kids were in school, and they would have, retired, there's that word again, teachers or grandparents that would come in and sit and read with the kids.
Yeah.
And they were volunteered.
But guess what? The retired person can go to the older ones and read to them. Still, they can't. I have a friend who can't see well. She was an avid reader. She can't read anymore. I set up on her device it reads the book to her. She hates it. She loved reading. It's not the same. But if I sit down and I just read an article to her, she'll sit there and hold my hand, and it's just the time. And it gets rid of her frustration about not being able to read anymore. It just totally bypasses that.
Right. Well, and I think with that, people start thinking, I'm a failure. I can't do this and this and this and this. And a training that I'm going through right now changes that and to or.
Yeah.
So I was able to get up today out of bed. It's a success. Or I brushed my teeth. Or I brushed my hair. And helping our loved ones, whether they're young or old, understand that you don't have to have a whole list of ands before you have a successful day.
Yeah.
And having that or in there can really help them mentally from being stuck in not having a successful day.
Yeah.
That's something I was able to share with my mom as well.
Mm-hmm.
Things that she was able to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which totally turned her opinion of her disability
Mm-hmm.
and herself around.
Yeah. We talked about environment last week, and the music and the healing. And so where can we find joy in our situation, and how can we change our environment even though we are no longer able to do those things, like legs being weak? I'm having a difficult time getting out of bed today. Where can I find some joy? And so finding healing in those methods that we talked about, right? Putting your hand on your heart, just getting calm, taking a breath. It's a simple thing. It's one breath. It's a simple thing. And then maybe turning on the music, get the vibration, change your environment, and say, okay, what's one thing I did today? I woke up. The sun is shining. I got another day. I can take a breath. I can have calm and I can have peace regardless of whatever. I can turn on the music. And music has extraordinary capacity to bring back memories.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually saw a very impactful video yesterday where they were doing a craniotomy, and the guy was playing the guitar during the surgery. So, because he was a musician and he didn't want to lose that capacity. So it was extraordinary. Music has the ability to rewire the brain and bring back memories, even if we've forgotten. If you turn on the music, all of a sudden it just lights the brain back up. And the surgeon said, we don't really know where music is stored, but somehow it lights up everywhere in the brain. So music has an extraordinary ability to change lots of things. It changes so much, that vibration. Like I said, everybody's music is different, right?
Yeah, everybody's music is different, that's for sure. So I have lots of questions coming up.
Okay.
And we've only got about 10, 15 minutes here. Wanted to know what nutritionally can be done in making sure that we're at least getting the nutrition the body needs to continue to function properly, or at its best, optimal best.
Sure. Water is your best friend always. Minerals, super important. Protein, super important. And I have a top 5. So the nutrients are super important. Your EFAs.
Yep.
Your EFAs. We got to keep your brain nice and cushy and malleable and keep the juices flowing. Minerals, one of my top thinking. And protein, your blood chemistry needs, your body needs, your organs need, your bones, your tissues, your muscles. Protein's a big deal. And older adults, like we talked about last week, dehydration's a big one. Protein is another one. Getting the protein in and getting the minerals in are super, super important. And veggies.
Well, and
veggies.
a little bit about the importance of protein. What does protein within the body help support or help us slow down the loss of?
Muscle.
Yeah.
We get a lot of muscle wasting as we age because, back to movement, we can't always move, so we have muscle wasting. And I have some really dear friends who are physical therapists and occupational therapists and speech therapists that work on movement. Older adults don't always have the capacity to move. They can't get out of bed. What can I do? I can wiggle my toes. I can wiggle my fingers. You can make the movements, right? Make the movements. You don't need weights.
Right.
You roll your wrists, roll your feet, flex your arms, right?
Yeah, just
exactly. Bring them out in front of you. Do the same thing, as much or as little as you can do. Anything helps. But if you can't get out of bed, you need to be bringing in minerals and protein so that your body can heal and it can continue gaining the strength that it needs, so that when you can move, you're going to be weak. So I have on my list, let me just go over this really quick. So health and nutrition, those were the two. Medical equipment, you might need a walker. You might need a wheelchair. You might need, if you're bedbound, you might need a Hoyer. So there are things that you might need, but doing a safety assessment for yourself and doing a safety assessment for your home and your environment, you might have rugs or navigation issues in your home that could be a potential for you to have a fall. So doing a safety assessment for yourself, am I able to live where I am now safely now and in the future? What are some obstacles that I might have going forward? So super important for you or your loved ones to do a safety assessment, and then figuring out what those supportive roles are that you need right now, or that you might need as you continue down your aging journey.
Absolutely. And so I want to touch on that nutrition part just a little bit, because folks, there's so many different options out there when it comes to nutrition. You can get stuff at the corner store that's super cheap, but is it clean? Is it absorbable? Does it have the cofactors the body needs to even break it down so that the body can use it? One thing that we have found with here on Daily with Doc is the longevity line of products have all of that. The minerals are plant derived, which you can get plant derived minerals in a liquid form or a capsule form, with or without flavor. You can even get the mineral sticks, which are minerals and collagen, which is very important for your joints, your tendons, your ligaments, your skin, your hair. We've got the general 90 essential nutrients that Dr. Wallach speaks of all the time, that through his research found that there are at least 60 essential and trace minerals that are essential for health. There's 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 3 essential fatty acids, as Kasondra mentioned. Now, when it comes to protein, if you haven't tried the brand new mint chip protein, oh my goodness. It is yummy. And if you don't like mint chip, there's amino charge, where you're getting at least 20 grams of clean protein that you can mix in water, you can mix in your shake, you can mix it in. So make sure that you get back with a person that shared this program with you and say, hey, I want to get the basic minerals. I want to get the full program. I need extra protein. I need collagen. And they'll be able to help you get the nutrition from a reliable quality source into your body. Now, if there was nobody to thank and you found us on your own, we do have a call team standing by at 855-949-3377. Again, that's 855-949-3377. This is primarily for those who have never tried any of the products that are recommended on this show and are not working or referred to this program by somebody specific. Because if you're referred, you get back to that person that cared enough to share this program with you. Now, Kasondra, some closing remarks. And I mean, your notes probably, we've got 4 shows here. So I'm excited to have you back. And this is different than what we've had in the past, where we're supporting the body, we're being proactive, reactive, but let's get a little deeper into life and really think about what it is that people up in age may be facing and help them be more proactive in that as well. So what's some closing remarks about today's program that you'd like to share?
Well, I appreciate you allowing the opportunity to take health and nutrition really into life, and quality vegetables and fruits and products and supplements are super, super important. The quality of the nutrients as you age is very important. So
Absolutely.
yes. So the quality is super important. It's super important to me, super important to everyone here. And so top of the list, right? Quality things that you put in your body are super important as you age.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yes. And again, especially if you can't move and you can't get out and you're not super active, that the higher the quality, the more impactful it's going to be for your health.
And I know that you're all about, those quality fruits and vegetables, making sure that they are organic. So you have less pesticides, less herbicides that are toxic to the body, folks. If it's in the ground, it's getting in the plant. So you really want to pay attention to that. I know you're very adamant about non-GMO, those genetic modified organisms. Maybe we should have you come on and talk about that sometime too.
Whatever you would like for me to come back. I have, yes, lots of opinions about those things, and I will be as nice and kind as I can, but I am a clean freak about those things, and I know where my products come from, and I am very, very particular about what I put in my body. So, and I'm not afraid to share it. So thank you. I will get to last remarks. Yes. So top of my list is radical changes. So make sure you plan. Unplanned events and radical changes impact your life if you don't plan. And even if you do plan, that you still have some level of chaos that comes up. So having all the tools and resources that you can possibly have, and having a community that can come and support you and have a place where you can come when these things come up in your life. You don't have to know everything. You just need to know where to go in order to ask the question, and they will have somebody who can get that answered for you. So I think that's the most important thing that I can leave is you are not alone in this journey. There's a community around you, loving you and supporting you on your journey. And we are all here to help each other. And you don't have to know everything, but you do need to do something. One thing every day, you need to do something towards working on a plan for your journey so that you don't wind up in crisis.
Absolutely. And those, knowing those resources, and yes, we are going to put together. I'm thinking
I'll give you a quick list. Here's what we'll do. So how about if we say, as you age, a gerontologist is very important. So understanding your medical needs is super important as you age because it's different. It's called a gerontologist. Knowing whether or not you're safe in your home as you age, super important. Your area on aging is going to be a great local place for your resources. There's a place called the Thrive Center, and it is all about technology that you can use in your home. It's any new gadgets, anything. Podcast. My good friend Mary has a podcast. It's called What's Next, and it is decades worth of just everything aging. Tech for older adults. That's another thing. How do you navigate technology for older adults? Play. Make sure you play. Make sure you have companionship and combat loneliness. Make sure you share your story. We want to give our wisdom to the next generation, and it's important, and you are valued and you're loved, and your story and your life matters. Quick list, elder law, super important. Your banker, your lawyer, your accountant. Elder law is very, very important as you age. Every single family needs to engage in elder law. Nutrition, top of the line. Make sure you do really good at your nutrition as best as you can. Get the resources and understanding about how you can put good quality foods in your mouth. And then make sure, again, back to the safety assessment, make sure that you have a safety assessment done for yourself, for your health, and for your home, and make sure you put those supportive roles around you. Start asking the questions now. Start keeping a journal. And that's it.
Well, I'm thinking that you and I maybe need to put our heads together and create an ebook to go along with this series. Just something to think about.
I would be happy to do that with you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Kasondra. I greatly appreciate you coming and sharing some things that we may not be thinking about as we are getting older or our loved ones are getting older. If I could have the co-host come up screen with us, that would be greatly appreciated. Today we have with us Sherry. Sherry's part of our tech crew, helping to get the platform all set up and streaming to the different platforms. So if you're out on one of those platforms, let us know that you're there. Like us, share us, make sure that you are subscribed to our channel. You can find us even on Roku, Amazon. Is it Amazon that we're missing? I'm missing one of them. Roku that we could be on. No, we are on Roku. Just like Daily with Doc, folks. In your search engine, whether you're using Safari or Bing or Yahoo or Google, there's so many of them. But in that search bar, search Daily with Doc. And you can even do Daily with Doc and Becca. You're going to find us on so many different platforms. Choose your favorite. Make sure you're following us and share it with somebody that you know that you may be suffering or having a hard time. Just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I see the comments that are coming in from the different platforms. Thank you, Bruce. Bruce is saying thank you for all the knowledge and a great show. And I know there was some more that I missed, But let's continue on with the people that I'm grateful for. We have Marilyn. Marilyn, again, is doing the dictation, putting it into the chat. Thank you so much, Marilyn. I have Ruth Ellen, my executive co-host, and the person that fills in for me, one of the two people that fill in for me when I'm not available. Thank you so much, Ruth Ellen, as my executive production manager. She keeps us in line too. So she herds cats really well. And we have Albert, who's joining us from South Africa, helping to let people into the Zoom. So thank you so much, Albert, for being on that and keeping an eye on things. Thank you. Thank you. We have AJ, our Director of Digital Marketing, who has been very instrumental in getting us out on all the different platforms. And we have Rod, who's helping to keep an eye out on the different platforms as well and bring in questions. And a shout out to our Creative Design Director, Ivan, who I know is watching. So folks, there's so many different pieces and skills that come together to provide a resource like this. If you have skills that you would like to contribute to something greater than yourself, get back with the person that shared this program with you. Say, hey, how can I help? I love doing this. I love doing this. I have this skill. I have this knowledge. How can I use that in promoting a healthier way of living? If there was nobody to thank, give us a call, 855-949-3377, or send us an email, info@DailywithDoc.com. Again, that's info@DailywithDoc.com. Kasondra, thank you once again. I look forward to having you on with us next week as we continue this conversation, because I know we didn't touch everything. And there's some important things that we need to really be thinking about and planning.
Thank you for having me.
And those we love. Thank you.
Look forward to it.
Well, so do we. We have lots of great comments that are coming in. And folks, join us. Zoom.dailywithdoc.com, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, 3 to 4 Eastern, by going to zoom.dailywithdoc.com and be part of our live audience and ask questions and see that amazing chat. My name is Becca Dukes. Thank you so much again for joining us. If you would like to know more about becoming a certified holistic health coach, go to coach.dailywithdoc.com. You'll find more information about the coaching program offered by the Institute of Holistic Health and how you can become involved as well. So until next time, did I forget anything, guys? AJ, were you waving or are you like flagging me down? Wait. Okay, bye. Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon. Bye for now. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach.